I hope everyone is doing better than I am. Let's see. How long has it been since the last stream? It's probably been like 2 weeks. Yeah. Hey, so I'm Connor. This is a coffee stream, except it's currently 93 degrees Fahrenheit here currently, which is, I don't remember the formula. Hang on. Is about 34 degrees Celsius. It is way too hot for coffee, and I didn't want to walk to the cafe to get an iced coffee because it is 93 degrees. So, we instead have a Monster Energy. This is my own personal hell, and I'm inviting you all to join me in my own personal hell. Here's the thing, I don't hate Monster. Still, no worries, and thank you, Crash. And hey, Quip, thank you. Broke right now to pay a traffic ticket. Don't worry about it. You have helped a ton. You have helped a ton. Been over 100 Fahrenheit there for a month. Holy shit. Sorry, let me adjust this. There we go. Oh no, you can see the mamba candy I bought instead. Whoa, okay, there's a lot happening. I gotta take a swig of Monster before I can address all this. They had white Monster, but it tastes worse. Okay, so Quip subscribed. No worries, Quip. Flint is at 43 fucking months. You got some healthy mead to enjoy. I do not know what that is. And it's almost a year. Yes, Flint. And Ken, you're at 2 years, which is almost a year. Thank you. Thank you all so much. This does help a ton. Now, let's talk about what's been happening. So, I made 4 videos in a fairly short period of time. I'm actually gonna go check. I don't know how to prime stuff on mobile. I know it's a whole thing. I'm gonna go check the time period on my videos. Let's see. Go to the Creator Studio, see exactly. So, okay, I made the Recore video around the beginning of July, and then I invested a lot of time into making games with bad graphics video. Okay, that came out, I was working on that for probably a week and a half, and that came out July 25th. And then, about a week later, August 3rd, was my Here Comes Nico review. And I'm gonna let you all in on a little behind the scenes secret, alright? I got my review key for Here Comes Nico the day before the game came out, and I wanted to post the review day of, because that helps you ensure that it gets, views. Yeah, so I spent literally the entire day just fucking playing the game, writing the script, narrating, editing. It was a lot. And then I don't blame the devs, for the record. It is just the way these things go, especially when you're, a YouTuber and not a member of the press. And then in the interim, before I was working on the Nico video, and then as a result after I was working on the Nico video, I had that Waterfalls video. And that one was originally like an 8-minute long video, but I felt it was too repetitive, and I cut it down a bit. And we ended up with the video we have now. If you actually watch it again, you can see there's some slightly sloppy edits in it. But you had to cancel your sub because the cost was made cheaper. Oh, sorry, Square. No worries, though. But yeah, I was working from bad graphics. I took like 2 days off, and then I was working on the Waterfalls video, and then I blasted through the Nico review, and then finished the Waterfalls video. That came out less than a week later. And then Road 96 I got a review key about a week before that game came out, which was good because that was a more complicated one to review. And after making 2 videos in a row that weren't over 8 minutes, which means I didn't get extra ads on them, I wanted to get another video that would have extra ads on it so I could, you know, make money. So I made sure it was a longer review, and then I posted that. So I was working for about a month straight on these videos that I've not gotten a ton of views. The Nico review is done decently, but the point being, between all of this, I was also doing Skyward Sword. We were streaming Skyward Sword. So I was dead. And I needed to take some time off. God, my hair looks great right now. Holy shit. It's not great. It's not great. It just ain't. Like, the remaster, it feels wrong to say the remaster felt lazy because there's this whole pandemic thing, but it definitely felt like it could have done more with it. And the original game, the story is interesting, except for the fact that Zelda is a useless character in it, which sucks. But it just hasn't aged well, basically. Still looked good, but... Oh, that's better. That's more like it. You always looked like goals. I appreciate that. So, since that last video, since the Road 96 review, here's what I have done. I have slept a lot. I had to walk with a cane for a while because I was so dizzy that I couldn't stand up. And so I slept a lot, listened to music a lot, and then Austin and I have been reading. This is a thing Austin and I do. And if you have a partner who you want to spend more time with, but you're not really sure the best way to spend time with them, and you're a fan of anime or manga, here's a cool thing you can do, especially if you've seen an anime for a series that has ended or is on hiatus, but the manga keeps going and you want to know more. Get together with your friend or your partner and read it. Choose which person will voice what characters. Read that shit aloud. Make it a joint operation. You don't have to do it to anyone. It's just for the two of you. And it is some of the most fun I've had hanging out with Austin. It's just us goofing off, coming up with voices for these characters, and bringing out my best Kansai accent to voice Sendo. It's so good. It's so good. It doesn't have to be a partner. Just be a friend, a good friend, a good friend. Friends to lovers. So there was that, which we've been doing and are still doing, and is a fun way to spend time. I got really into Nitro Terral games. The mental erosion you've been going through has been harrowing. Oh, sorry to hear that, Flint. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing this company correctly. Yeah, no, I was right. Nitro plus Terral games. They're the ones who do all the boy love novels, all the yaoi novels. I played Dramatical Murder, which is on Steam. Played it censored because I didn't know they censored it, which sucked. It's a good game unless you are like me and are triggered by sexual assault things, in which case there's 4 really good routes, and then Mink is also there. And then I played Lamento, which I thought was a much better game. You all have not lived until you have had to change your system's language to Japanese to install a fan translation of a 2006 game. That is living life to its fullest. Holy shit. What else have I been doing? I wrote the script for my 5-year anniversary video because holy... 5 years. That's coming up on September 3rd. Five American years that I've been doing YouTube. I'm gonna have a short. It's gonna be a short video. It's gonna be a simple video that I'm gonna post on the 3rd. Hopefully, it might end up being a couple days late. We will see. I've still been applying for jobs at various gaming outlets. I applied for a job at PC Gamer, but I doubt I'll get that because I don't quite have the experience they're looking for. I'd be much better off being a video producer somewhere because I don't have experience writing articles, even though I think my videos are basically just articles, like the way I write them. It's not freeform. These are scripted. I write them as if it's an article and then just turn it to video form. I hope I can get employment at a gaming journalism outlet, TM. That's what I want. Let me know if the music's too loud, by the way. I gotta keep my headphones off for a while. It's been you know, it's just been I did get a cool keyboard. If you followed me on Twitter, you saw, or not keyboard, keycap specifically. The Astralo keys, keycaps. These are so fucking pretty. Oh my god. Obviously, only recommended if you're a touch typer like I am, and like most people are if you've been using the internet long enough. Because a lot of the key symbols are changed. I'm still mad at my roommate, my friend Alex, who saw this and said, "Oh yeah, it's like Homestuck." I'm furious. Oh god, I can see the bags under my eyes. Jesus Christ. Is the music too quiet? I'll turn it up a little if that's the case. When I was younger, I tried reading Homestuck and I got 100 pages in and was like, I don't think this is my shit. And then same friend Alex was like, nah, you gotta get to like 500. And I'm like, no. I'm not gonna do that. Oh. Hey, yeah, I took some time off. I've been very tired, Sniv. Yeah, he also said it reminded him of Binding of Isaac. Those are two things he's very into. Plans for the future. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. I already mentioned that I'm trying to get hired writing articles about video games or producing videos somewhere. The dream job I would have. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, that's 1 year. That's 1 year, Mr. Conungus. Thank you. 1 whole year. That's almost a year. Thank you. My dream job would be being a video producer at Polygon. I think I would be really good at it. I think I would fit right in. It's obviously a pipe dream, but if I could choose the job I had, it would be that. But as more likely, it'll be that I have to work somewhere else, which I wouldn't mind. If I could write for PC Gamer or I have some issues with Kotaku, but Kotaku seems to be trying to turn itself around. So, I mean, if I can help with that, then that would be good. Yeah, exactly. I made a website to show my portfolio, and that mostly talks about how like these videos are basically articles. Hey, now Sniv has a subscription. Thank you, Quip. Thank you. You're petty. Fair enough. A main thing I would wish to have a better chance of getting hired somewhere is that one of my non-payday videos got over 1 million views. I guess 1 million isn't like, it feels like it should be the number I should be striving for, but I think the reality is far more closer to like 50K, or yeah, 50K, 100,000. Like, let's see. Other than the Doom video, which people hate watch, Flint gifted 2 subscriptions to what I can only assume is the official Mythbusters account. Both Adam Savage and the other one are now subscribed, as well as Flitch the Ewok. Both of you are now subscribed. Thank you, Flint. See, I gotta make over $100 in a month on Twitch in order to actually get paid in the next month, so this is cool. Quip isn't in first place anymore. Adam Savage and co-host. Give me the fulminated mercury. Oh, God, I can't stop thinking about Mythsters now. I don't know if that video holds up or not, but it was an old YouTube poop, Mythsters. I think it was a The Things video, which means it probably doesn't hold up, but it isn't nearly as bad as a lot of other ones. Anyways, what was I saying? Plans for the future. Yeah, if I get hired at Kotaku, that would be cool. Even, like, Kotaku has obviously done some shit, but if I could, try and help unshit, as they seem to be attempting to do, that would be nice. And then there's lots of other websites I wouldn't mind working for, but, like, I feel like if I mention it, then I'm striking it off of the list of places I could actually work. What I've started doing to try and get like more portfolio built up is I took the interview I did with Jeff about Unbeatable and about their life, and I transcribed it and posted that to my website so I can link it like I do interviews. Here's an interview I did, because linking a YouTube video that doesn't have a ton of views feels unprofessional, even though it's not. But like linking a channel that has 100,000 subs and then being like the content within speaks for itself, as opposed to linking to a specific video, I feel like is better. Unless of course the video has a fuck ton of views, in which case you'd be like, people like my shit, look at it. It's Squarespace. I paid money and dollars for it. It's just ConnorShawVA.com. I think actually I still have. Yeah. I paid what, $100 American, I think, for a year of it, something like that. But hey, it looks good, and also I haven't touched HTML in like 8 years, so I was cool with having a lot of the work done for me. Well, it's the domain name and the service, so like it felt worth. I don't know, I might come to regret that another year. I'm wearing a small button up trying to don't rip it, don't rip your button up. I don't know, like I guess we're gonna get into some real shit here, but I do not mind. You're gonna have to bear with me with what I say here. I do not mind being hot on the internet for a living. I do not mind being an influencer, is what I am saying. That's true, Sniv. I might actually take you up on that. If I end up getting hired anywhere, I need to have like a more professional website for one reason or another, other than just, you know, the Squarespace like prefab thing. But I don't mind being an influencer, but I think I would prefer to be a journalist. I would prefer to be a video producer and a journalist, because not only is being an influencer, that comes with a lot of stigmas about it, which I would say maybe 30% of them are deserved, and then the rest is like, ugh. But also, when you're an influencer, you have to deal with other influencers. A lot of them are chill, cool people. Some of them, it turns out, were grifters who were abusing people, and you made friends with them not knowing this, and then it's real annoying and painful when you find out the truth about them. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens. So that's cool. Yeah. Coffee. The term influencer is kind of dystopian. It's unfortunately... Are we mentioning someone specific? Yes! I won't say who, but yes. The term influencer is based off of the idea that the person's financial repertoire is that they can convince people to try something. It doesn't even have to specifically be to buy something, just to give it a shot. So the idea being, for instance, I get sent press keys for game reviews. It isn't because I'm a journalist. It isn't because I'm a reviewer. It's because a YouTuber with a lot of clout posting a video about something, even regardless of how you feel about it, gets it in people's minds. It gets them to think about it. Like people will see, like, a lot of people are talking about this game, I should look into it. They don't even have to actually watch the video. They just have to see the game around, get it as an earworm. And I don't think that's bad. I think that's just how it is. But I would much prefer to have my writing, have my analytical writing be used to, in however small of a way I can do it, advance forward perceptions of gaming and indie devs and marginalized people in games, rather than just promote sales, even though that is intrinsically tied to those former things. Like, this is why I don't primarily do reviews. I review games that I think are interesting, or I think that are worth it. I don't choose to review things that I think I will hate. If I have a negative review of a game, it's almost assuredly because either the game is so fascinating to me despite the fact that it's bad, or I genuinely thought the game was going to be great going in. And I try to use my reviews basically as an excuse to talk about interesting mechanics or story puzzle pieces of games. Like my Road 96 review, for instance. The main thing I wanted to get across there was how they do a really good job of making you feel like a small part of a revolution, rather than reviewing, say, the gameplay loop specifically of the game. I could also do that, and I did do that to some extent, but I'm much more interested in the parts of it that are unique to itself. The Doom video, I'll fully admit, I did because I knew I needed another hit video, but also because I thought I had a lot of interesting things to say about Doom Eternal, and about Doom Eternal's gameplay loop, and how it's bad, and I still think that it's bad. Yeah, like, I mean, I can post the videos the transcripts for the videos that I write to my website. No one is going to read them, because I think in the case that I'm in right now, it is better to have them just stay as videos and have that viewership be attributed to the to how good of a writer I am, even though I don't think those two things are necessarily correlated. But like the viewership rolls into how well I write. Don't underestimate SEO. That's fair. That is fair. But I do want to take things that I think also work as writing specifically. Like I think all of my videos could be turned into articles pretty much, except for like the content fatigue video. That's not really an article. That was just me kind of ranting. But they could work as articles. But things that I think could serve better as articles, but I'm just putting them on YouTube because that's the medium I'm most known for. For instance, my interview with Jeff and interviews I hope to do going forward. That works well as a, I guess, as a standalone. Speaking of which, I'm checking my email. Nope. Gotta check the email constantly. When you're waiting to hear back on job offers, check that email constantly. Now, I don't want to call out any specific websites for it, so we'll call this website Monitor Scream. This is the website that is hiring for bad pay people to write 60 articles a month for them, and Monitor Scream, this website, which is a made-up website that is not at all correlated to a real website, will explains when you're getting there was one that was an internship, but that is 2 articles a day, which explains why the content on a website like Monitor Scream is bad. Like, I feel really bad for people who work there because they might have some really good ideas mixed in there. However, they need to make up the difference by having top 10 times that you didn't understand an adult joke on a cartoon when you were a kid. They have to do that shit because otherwise they are fired. And a place like that is always hiring like it's a goddamn fast food restaurant. And it's because, much like fast food, the turnover rate is high because they're being underpaid and overworked. Maybe I'll post my articles I don't justify videos. Maybe I'll post my A Way Out script there because I still have that written down. I couldn't do enough for that A Way Out analysis to make it a video. Like it would be like a 3 to 4 minute long video. You know, another one too that would actually really work. I have this full script. It's pretty much done script talking about the thought process and the production value and how it intrinsically relates to how linkable and shareable the music videos for OK Go songs are, and how I think they were the first band to really understand the internet, and how the low production value inherently increases the likability and the impressiveness of their videos. However, trying to make that video, 1, on my gaming channel, and 2, without getting copyright struck to hell would be bad. So maybe I'll just throw that on my website at some point. I have a blog set up on my website now, for the record, that's writings, and I just have the interview there currently. Yeah, like the reason why there's so many of those shitty articles, and this is also a part of why gaming journalism isn't taken seriously is because websites have absolutely unrealistic standards for their writers. And part of the reason for that is because there are so many other websites trying to make a name for themselves, and sometimes a CEO who doesn't know any better thinks volume is the answer. And volume can be the answer if you have the people to back it up. But if you are expecting one person to do that much, it's not sustainable, and the quality will suffer as a result. Well, news subscriptions exist, but nobody uses them. And also, I don't think news subscriptions... wow, this is a hot take, I just realized. I don't think news subscriptions exist. I like when, like, gaming websites have, like, the website, ads, and all that's, fine. They have to make money somehow. And then they have a magazine that, like, has more in-depth stuff that is a paid subscription. I think that's neat. I like that. But, like... I don't know, let's call this one the DC Stick, this website. What? Hang on, wait, no, that's a Bezos. No, DC Stick is a great website, and having a paywall behind the content that they have, which they claim is so super important to read, except you have to pay for it, it is not a bad thing at all. It's not undermining the point of them at all. Nope, please don't destroy my Twitch channel, Bezos. Oh, he's not there anymore, is he? He's not the CEO anymore. All right, yeah, fuck Jeff Bezos. Fuck Washington Post. Like, it sucks to want to be a journalist when journalism is the way that it is. Old news sites, major publications have a fourth of the workers they had 2 decades ago. Well, yeah, because it got moved on to like a per click basis, in the same way that YouTube is like based on the amount of views you get. An article's quality is based on how many reads it gets, even if the article, say, only pertains to a certain group of people who it's targeted at, or is really important to exist as a reference for other creators to use. If it don't get the views, it's not good to use. The amount of times I've referenced articles for my videos is countless. It's 6 times. And I would like articles that are basically like, here is an excerpt from our cool interview with the developer of Shenmue, where he talks about how he fucking hates video games. I'm like, fuck yeah, this article is great. This is useful. It was an entertaining read and good. Also, doesn't get the clicks. So, ugh. Oh, yeah, there's also the issue of, like, wanting to hold standards, either journalism standards or just morality standards, against an industry that does not give a shit about those standards. I.e., Activision Blizzard comes out with a cool new game, and a lot of websites will not want to review or talk about it because hang on. I don't have any paper here to do this prop gag. Flip. I'm checking my notes. They're a horrible company and are bad. But you also know that you're going to be losing out on a lot of reader base because a lot of people either don't give a shit or give a shit, but it's Overwatch 2. So they will end up just reading it elsewhere. They'll end up watching the video elsewhere, even if you don't. You're doing it on a moral basis, which I think is justified, but they'll end up checking it out somewhere. Let me see if I can find that Shenmue article again, because that is a fucking hilarious read. I think I linked it. Yeah, it was a Game Informer interview with Yu Suzuki. Here, I'll drop a link here. This is a good read. Recommended. But the point. Also, small side rant. Renaming McCree is one of the funniest fucking things Activision Blizzard has done this entire time. Don't worry, guys. The Cowboy's got a different name now. It's all good. I am genuinely... Oh, I love Shenmue 3. It was bad, but I loved it. It was genuinely... I'm genuinely happy for the voice actors of Overwatch, because most of them are cool people. Probably all of them are cool people. I don't know. Matt Mercer's a cool dude. Who have to re-record all these lines, and will presumably get paid big bucks for it. I'm happy for them, but the fact that internally this was their priority is hilarious. We renamed the Cowboy. It's all good. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I knew that. It was basically inserting his like self it was a self-cert, that's what the phrase is. It was like if in Bad Batch Season 2, there's a new cool character who's a wolf furry that wears a cowboy hat, whose name is Dave Filoni. And like, it's just his self-cert. That's it. This is his true form that he's finally achieved. That is what McCree was. I hope they name him like McGree. McGruff. McGruff the crime dog. I'm happy for the voice actors, assuming they're going to be paid for re-recording these lines. The name's Jesse McDonald's. The name is Messy Decree. I think I could do a decent McGruff, whatever his name is. The hungriest cowboy around. Well, there's only 2 cowboys in the world, so they look like one or the other because there's just the 2. There's McCree, whatever his new name is gonna be, and he's there twice, and those are the 2. What was I saying? Okay, games journalism. Games journalism needs to be more respected. Certain websites need to do more to ensure that happens. Yeah. I guess that's all I had to say about that. I'm thinking about time to incorporate your own gaming publication. And Sniv, what will it be called? What will be the name? What will be the name of it? I'm thinking about how I got real into playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 right before all the active Blizzard shit came out. And I was like, yeah, I should stream this cool skateboarding game. Fartaku? Gamasutra's game developer. Fair. Game developer is a goofy name, but it's way less goofy than Gamasutra, so it's all good. There are some games that are coming out next like 2 months that I am going to review. I just want to make sure I get the name fully right. Yeah, okay, figured. I'll just go ahead and say it. I don't know if I'm getting a key for it or not, but either way, I'm going to review it. Moonglow Bay comes out like a month and some change. Gonna review the fuck out of that. That game looks right up my alley. Mad Dog McCree. Yeah, the fucking, like, was it a DVD full motion video game that you played with the DVD remote, if I recall correctly? Man, games can truly take so many forms. And I think that's part of what's so fucking beautiful about them. Sometimes you get Tim Curry on a green screen to yelling about capitalism and be like, this is a game now. Sometimes you get a cowboy on a green screen yelling about capitalism and be like, this is a game now on DVD. There's a strict difference between games and toys. Some video games are technically toys. Well, I mean, there's the Nintendo Entertainment System, and that was a whole thing. I think that inherently led to some of the weird classifications of games versus toys. Like, no, it's not a video game system. God, no, it is a toy entertainment system is what it is. Do not worry. Do not worry. Like, a game is a game to me. Obviously, there's more, like, specific definitions, but a visual novel is still a game. It's just a visual novel game, and that's fine. That's all good. I know that today's fun discourse that's being discussed is the practice of buying a game that's less than 2 hours on Steam and then refunding it after you've beaten it. And I want to talk about this. However, I have a confession about it. Although this isn't exactly something that was private. But first of all, obviously this practice is horrible and bad. But secondly, I did this sort of once for a video. My Killing Floor 2 monetization video. I bought the DLC, the $20 worth of DLC for weapons, and then got some footage of using them, practiced using them, and then refunded the DLC. I did that. I would argue I am justified in doing that because I had already bought the game, and, like, we can discuss whether or not the DLC is worth it. It wasn't, but that doesn't, like, that is technically subjective. But also, I feel like that was a justified case of a refund because I got this, decided I didn't want it, and refunded it. However, I did make money off of doing that because I made a video about it. And I think this actually gets into a whole aspect of monetization that is a very complicated terrain. Because it's a similar situation with making videos about mods in games. Mod makers almost universally aren't making a livable income off of mods. But a YouTuber making a video about mods does. And this is coming from someone whose first video on YouTube was about modding a game. I understand this. But I think the practice is, for lack of a better term, it's sus to, like, obviously you want to make a video about something. You can have the best of intentions, want to draw attention to something, but if you end up making more money off of the thing than the creator of the original thing, I think that's fucked up. Oh yeah, the streaming licenses for their game. I think that is taking this idea to the nth degree of therefore streamers should have to pay us to stream our game. Like, no, that's definitely taking this idea too far. As far as I know, Twitch has some infrastructure for, like, game creators getting a cut of money from certain big sponsored streams of games. Like, something like that. I don't know, it's specifics. The problem with debating definition of games is for some folks saying something isn't a game is a value judgment. Like, casual mobile games aren't games. Like, this is a weird stance after spending an hour talking about how I want to be a games journalist and write analytical pieces about games. But I don't think it matters, or it should matter, whether or not something really is a game. If it's sold on a gaming platform, I think it can be a game or it's not. It is an entertainment product that you are paying money for or not paying money for, and it's there and it's yours. E3K, take it easy. See ya. And, y'all, I was trying to think about the next thing to say, and I just remembered the fucking Martin Luther King Jr. Fortnite thing. That's a lot. That's, good grief. I think it was done with good intentions. I do think that the result, because Fortnite has a certain accurate perception of being this goofy result of capitalism hellscape, that it's backfired, if anything. Any of y'all who played up growing games, wow, what I just said. Let me try. Oh, hang on, Sniv. Let me give you permission. There you go. You can post a link there now. But what I was gonna say is, if you grew up playing games with a voice chat in, like, large servers, I'm thinking, like, Gary's Mod, I'm thinking Trouble in Terrorist Town, I'm thinking Counter-Strike, I'm thinking, like, those were basically 3 of the same games I just said. But if you grew up playing, like, large games that had voice chat, you will know that a lot of gamers, especially young people, are, this might shock you, racist and bad. And there's a lot of impressionable youths who may not realize how bad the things that are being said are, or may think it's being done ironically and it's funny, and then will repeat shit that they heard, and it's all bad. So I do conceptually like the idea of taking these impressionable minds and being like, here is some good. Here is some information in a medium which you are already here. We're bringing it to you. However, what I think it will instead do is it will get racist bad gamers making racist bad jokes, and then it will get the 13-year-olds to hear that shit and repeat it. I think that will be the result. And as a result, I think it will backfire. Using games as educational tools is not a bad thing. Minecraft has been used as an educational tool for a lot of different things. I learned basic coding from fucking Minecraft. It's used in classrooms to teach certain aspects, certain things, it doesn't matter, is good. It has to be done in a way where the primary conversation will not be how hilarious is it that Rick and Morty are standing in front of the I Have a Dream speech. Because that is what you have done. And I cannot see a reality in which they didn't realize that was what was going to happen. I've probably already seen that thing that you've linked to. Yeah, yes. Like, we're talking about the Martin Luther King Jr. Fortnite crossover, which I just said that phrase, and I think I died. I think I'm a ghost now. The last month has been wild. The last 2 years have been, the last 10 years, my life has been wild. My lifetime. And before that also. It just keeps getting weirder wild instead of just bad wild. Although there's a lot of bad wild as well, but there's even more weird wild. I cannot perceive a reality in which they looked at this and went, we're gonna do this educational crossover in the one that's got Batman and Superman and John Wick and Richard and Mortimer and all the other ones. This is where we're doing that, where they do the culturally appropriated dances. This is where we're gonna do it. The one where kids literally kill each other as a video game. That's what we're doing. Apparently, that's the best way to teach kids, to teach the youth. Dab on the racists, kids. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, that bullshit of like, hey kids, Apple doesn't want you to play Fortnite, kids. Come on, we're gonna teach you how to crack your phones. Which is, I guess, cool, but also really, really, really bad. Jesus Christ, man. Is it bad that you can dance in Fortnite? It's bad that they stole meme dances or actual dances without crediting or providing financial compensation to their creators and then claim them as their own. I think that's bad. There's a whole debate you could have about that, but I think that no matter which way you slice it, it's a bad way of doing it, especially when they're charging money for it that they make. It's all so fucked. All of it. And we're living in it. And there's not a lot an individual can do about how fucked it all is. Well, yeah, but they're quite literally dancing around it on purpose. But yeah, it's all so fucked. And there's not a ton an individual can do about how fucked everything is. This is part of why I want to be a journalist, is to do my little part to write and try to be like, hey, first of all, here are some things that aren't horrible. And secondly, here are some ways we can work towards the average being less horrible. People are compliant because they trade freedom for convenience. That gets into some like weird territory of discussion that I am not qualified for, but I think the smaller examples of that accumulate. I don't know, man. I would like if here, if I could wish for two things in the gaming world specifically, because that is the small sliver of culture that I have chosen to claim my stake in. If I could choose two things for the gaming world that I would like to work towards improving, it would be mobile and low graphics games being treated as more serious and real games, and marginalized developers having their games brought to the front stage, basically. Because if I can add a third thing to this thing, also providing the tools for anybody who wants to be able to make games that have the veneer of professionalism required to be taken seriously. Because you have shit like, what was it, Game Maker, like, charging a monthly subscription fee now, and Unity working for the US military. Oh god, it's all so fucked. It's all so fucked. But, like, there's a lot of really cool games out there made by cool people that get overshadowed. Yeah, as far as I know, Godot is good. But it gets overshadowed by AAA shooty fest because they have a foothold already. They have the veneer of professionalism required to be taken seriously, and they have the money to be able to back that up. And every once in a while, a small game breaks through that mold. But then the ideas of that small game get incorporated into AAA bullshit and claimed as their own. I've barely even finished half this fucking monster. It was the Sonic Colors remake is being made in Godot, right? I'm curious how that will go. I'm curious how that will Godot. I guess the point I'm trying to make here is, much like most industries, but it's all the more depressing to see happen consistently and get worse and worse. It is really hard to break out in the gaming industry because the players who are already there not only have the prestige and the money to continue to be perceived as the default, but also the tools required to try and reach a level where people can take you seriously are difficult to learn or restrictive. However, Godot is helping change that, which I appreciate. But also, here's a third thing. The perception of what games should cost is so fucked. I think part of the issue, I don't blame them for this. I think it just kind of culturally took a foothold. But part of the issue is the Xbox Arcade? Was that what it was called? Where, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the cost limit of a game on the Xbox Arcade was $10. And there were a fuck ton of shovelware crap games there, but there were also a bunch of really good ones. But I think this idea, it was $20, okay. But I still think this idea perceived in culture of indie games should cost about $10. And I think that may have been fair several years ago, but I think nowadays, especially when tools like Xbox Game Pass exist and has a bunch of those sort of prestige indie games I'm talking about, like indie games with the veneer of professionalism. Like fucking, I don't know if Undertale's actually on it, but Undertale's an example of what I'm talking about. Hades is definitely an example of that. But indie games still are perceived that they need to cost $10 maximum. Yeah, that was an issue with Here Comes Nico, cost $25, which I think is fair. Like, it has a good amount of content in it. I think like that's it's fair. It's 20. Like there's no other way to put it. $25 is fair for that game. But people get really mad because they don't think an indie game should cost more than $10, which is really dumb to me. I think I even said a similar thing. Let me see how much Hat in Time costs. Hat in Time's $30. Again, Hat in Time was one of those like games that has a veneer of professionalism about it, for sure. They spent a really long time enacting that. When I say that, what I'm talking about is like you get like popular members of a certain community to promote the game. You have really well done commissioned music. You have a really striking art style that is very easy for people to accept. And these aren't bad things by any means, but it does mean that games that are trying to get weirder or are trying their own thing get buried by things that are closer to the norm. I think part of why Hat in Time worked is because it leaned heavily into being like, if you like Wind Waker, you will like this. That's not a bad thing, but I also think that it is a requirement to get your foot in the door, to be like, this game will be easier for a common market to accept. And now we can try some weirder shit. Double Fine is weird. Both Double Fine and Supergiant are weird when it comes to talking about indies, because they're not really. Well, I mean, they by definition still are. However, they've had a prestige about them. They have the financial means. They have the clout to create games at a level other indie devs could not dream of. And it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. It just is a thing. Were they bought by Microsoft? Double Fine? Well, I mean, I guess, what, double A? Double A then, rather than triple A? I don't know. I think what is going to be the most interesting to see is as the baseline, this is talking about US money, but the baseline for what people accept games from a large studio to cost is $60. Sorry, hang on. No, I'm gonna get into that for in a second, Stan. And that price is going up now. Like, $70 and $80 is gonna start becoming like a standard, like, yeah, this is the price that a AAA game costs. And I think, give it like 10 years, and it'll be like understood that like, yeah, you know, we're paying $80 for a AAA game. And I think people are still gonna be expecting indie games that cost $10, maybe $15. And that is ridiculous to me. However, the idea of oversaturation. I think there are two things that are helping curb that. One is itch.io and the way that itch.io does bundles. It is a good way to be like, here is a fuck ton of games, check them out, and if you like these, and you're like, hey, I really liked that one game from this bundle, if you have the time to like blast through them, this is obviously assumed like a younger person doing this, you can check out this developer and check out the other projects. But also, two, Microsoft seems to be accepting a lot of shit into Game Pass. It started out with just those prestige indie games, but they're starting to get weirder and weirder with it, which is good. And I'm curious how that will affect things going forward, because the idea of being like a whole fuck ton of, say, $3 indie games Only some of them are good. Not really sure if I want to invest the time and the money into doing that. But, hey, it's on Game Pass. I'll give it a go. Like, a lot of people have Game Pass because it's so fucking cheap and there's so much shit on it. I've had Game Pass for like a year now, and I still play Gears 5 all the time on it. Game Pass is where I play Recore. Like, I wouldn't have played that if it wasn't for Game Pass. And as far as I know, you get a flat rate just for being on the platform, regardless of how well it does once you're on the platform, which I think is good for smaller developers and less good for those prestige indie games. And then obviously if you're a AAA dev, it's gonna get into more complicated shit where like the platform may want your game there, but you may choose not to put it there. Yeah, subscription-based gaming is going to become normalized. Absolutely, it's going to become normalized. I mean, that already... We're having subscription-based gaming consoles. There's the PlayStation Digital Edition, the Xbox Digital Edition. I think there's one for both of them, where it is a digital-only games, but also you can choose to pay, say, $30 a month to rent to own the console, basically, which is good but slightly terrifying. Like, this is a good idea. It's gonna get into some weird shit soon. Of like, oh yeah, since you have a subscription-based console, you're not allowed to stream from it except for these pre-approved games that you can stream from. Oh, using the onboard camera, we detected that there are more than 5 people in your room, and this game wasn't meant for that many people on this console. You could buy the premium version if you want. It's fucking horrifying, but I think it's also too late to do anything about it. Weird dystopia. So this is why I like to support indie games that are like kind of old school in their presentation of like, we made a cool game, we didn't really care that much about like trying to make it professional, we just wanted to have cool graphics, cool gameplay, cool music, whatever it may be. It costs $20. Sure, okay, yeah. You know what I'm really looking forward to is, let me double check to be sure this is what it's called. I believe it's Neon White, but let me double check. Yes, Neon White. That game oozes aesthetic, and it definitely feels like a game that they made because they wanted to. Instead of like, we have a concept for a game that we have to make marketable. They just were like, let's fucking go for it, bud. I think I've said all I really wanted to say. I've heard a lot about Fuga, is that how it's pronounced? From one of my friends. I paid like what? How much did Dramatical Murder cost? Let me check. I paid $20 for it and it was worth. For a game that came out in like 2012. It was worth. Like, games should cost more. Indie games especially should cost more. Like, it doesn't matter whether I think AAA games should cost more, because they're going to, but indie games should cost more, and people should be okay with that. Because, well, first of all, I mean, obviously inflation, but also because the idea that the amount of hours you get out of a game should be the primary factor for whether or not the game is worth the price is really silly to me. Obviously, it should be a factor, the like cost of content, but if that is the main metric used, no wonder there are so many AAA games that have like bullshit grind fetch quests in them to extend their playtime. Yeah, exactly. It depends on the game. Some games, it's better for them to have more content or be longer based off of what the kind of game it is. Others, this may be like a 1 hour long experience, but it really moved you or really made you think. And I don't think it should be fair to say that should cost much less. It's part of why I like stopped mentioning like lengths of games in my reviews, because first of all, everyone's different. I think I should only mention it in the extremes. Like, hey, this game is like 70 hours long and it should be 20. Or, hey, this game literally took me like 30 seconds and that was it, bud. And it cost $80. Please help. Like, it should only matter in the extremes. It shouldn't, like, minute adjustments of length of a game versus cost of a game shouldn't matter as much. Like, a game like Shenmue, I don't mind being padded because that's part of why I'm playing it. I'm playing it for a fun, long... I mean, it's like the same reason why I might, like, put on a long anime. Because I just want something to, like, take my life away for a while. And it's also the same reason why I don't put on One Piece, because there's a difference between, like, being taken away for a while or deciding that this is the final thing I'm going to watch before I die. In a similar fashion, I don't want to play a game where I'll be like, this will be the final game I play before I die. Yakuza as well, exactly. Yeah, a lot of games are really similar, and in a way that I don't think it's necessarily bad to make a game that's built off of older games' systems, but I do think that it is wild to be really excited for a release of what is effectively a DLC pack for a game that was released the year before. I feel that. Okay, I gotta go. I'm exhausted, and I've pretty much said everything I wanted to say. Like, the games industry is fucked, but not irreparably. Capitalism has irreparably fucked the commerce industry, I guess. Like, it's not a problem exclusive to games, but the way that it's revealed itself through games is very noticeable. And so I think it's much easier to have a discussion about it. I don't think it's irreparably fucked. I just think that the way that we choose to address it and the companies that we allow primary access to how we address it, like, I love Xbox Game Pass, not super thrilled at the idea of Microsoft but, like, it is out of an individual's hands. You can vote with your wallet, but that only works on mass. I'm not gonna be mad at you if you buy the new Call of Duty. I'll be confused, but I won't be mad at you. Alright, I'm gonna go. I hope everyone got something out of this stream. I don't know. Thank you all so much for the subscriptions. Thank you all for coming by, keeping me company for a while. Might be a couple of shorter streams before the end of the month. We will see. I hope everyone had a good day, had a good life, had a good year. Take a little love into your heart and take it easy.